This is Old Line Farmer Radio, a Maryland Farm Bureau production, helping you achieve your best farm future.
What is up, Old Line Farmer Radio? We're here in Annapolis today with some very special guests. Today, I'm here with Hailey Pleasents and Clary, Maryland FFA state officers. Hailey and Connor, thank you guys for being here today. I'm so excited that we can have this conversation.
Yes, thank you, Kendall.
To get us started, do you mind introducing yourselves, sharing a little bit about where you're from, what your role is this year, and any fun facts you think our membership would love to hear?
All right, well, my name is Hailey Pleasents. I'm currently serving as Maryland FFA State President this year. I am from Region 2 in our association, so Frederick County. I was in the Linganore FFA chapter. My family's background has always been in agriculture. My grandfather has an agriculturally run business, as well as I grew up showing Hereford cattle, and my family has a hay production at our farm, as well as we do lots of stuff with our horses, and we have miniature animals.
And my name is Clary, and I'm currently serving as the Maryland FFA Association State Vice President. I'm originally from the North Garrett FFA chapter in Region 1 of the association, and I did have an agricultural background with Black Angus beef cattle. Since then, I've kind of been cut off from that and really been working in the agricultural side of things. And so FFA really opened those doors for me and those opportunities. And state office has been a great year, getting different hands-on experiences, working with different organizations, and being able to advocate for something that started it all.
Do you guys have a favorite memory from when you were a chapter member and not just a state officer?
Yes, one of the best things we do at our state convention is it is full of action and it is full of getting to meet members from all over the place. So my favorite memory was probably my junior year, like the summer coming out of my junior year at state convention when I got to do karaoke, and that's really where I made so many of like the core foundational relationships that I had in FFA, especially throughout my state officer year. That's really where I got to meet everyone and have fun, and we see each other in professional environments every day, but it was great to also see each other just as friends.
So are you going to karaoke for us now, today?
I can.
Okay, I love it. Connor, what about you?
All right, so my favorite moments are kind of spread out. I was a very nervous person growing up, like saying the creed, doing extent, prepared, no matter what it was. I was always super nervous. And so I found myself super comfortable and super excited to be, like pushed forward by like the different mentors in the community. So it made me really feel welcome and, wanting to do bigger things for our organization. But over this past year of serving as a state officer, just the impact and seeing members, really step outside of their comfort zones due to our mentorship. I think it all falls back to, what our advisors had done for us. And so those memories replay all the time for me of how we can impact our members. And then also just the people that we get to meet this year, the different organizations, the sponsors, the members, the other state officers across the country are memories I carry every day.
Yeah, so I know it's so funny that you said that, because one of my big things is that when we go into things, a lot of the times we're talking about what can we do for you, or what impact can we have. I think it's so interesting going throughout, your experience, and even as myself working for Farm Bureau, a lot of it's how can I talk to members and what impact can I have, but it's really what impact do they have on you, and I love that you're sharing that today. I think that kind of resonates with your FFA story. Now, along those lines of the impacts that we have, you guys are here in Annapolis today. Mm-hmm. Why are we here in Annapolis?
Well, we're here in Annapolis to bring all of our members here to advocate to different legislators, senators, delegates, and to actually just make a closer connection with those delegates, and so that they can see so many of these blue jackets here in Annapolis, just knowing that we're supporting them and asking for that support back. There are certain, different bills that we are working on here today, which I'll let Hailey get to in a minute, but it's just so nice to just see us all compact in one place, advocating for the same things and making those relationships so later, whenever we need that support, we can get focused on.
Yeah. You're definitely an identifying, beacon in Annapolis today with the Blue Jackets. So I'm sure legislators from across the state may stop you and ask, what are you doing here? Things like that. And that's a great thing for FFA to be involved in. Hailey, you're working on a bill or working through a bill with state staff on funding, correct?
Yes, we are. Right now, there is a bill that would provide lots of funding it used to come from horse racing. At our state fair, people had unclaimed tickets so that money would go and benefit people in agricultural education within our fair. Well, since it became digitized, that funding is no longer there. So we are proposing that money come towards us from the government to fund many programs such as MAIF. It would fund our state fair, and most importantly, it would fund FFA. We would get $50,000 that can be used for our leadership events, for our competitions, and to better our members.
Yeah, that's really important funding right there. I remember one of my, favorite things as a member and as a state officer was state convention, and I'm sure a lot of that funding can go to leadership programs and really building up our membership throughout the year. Mm-hmm. So that's really important. Now, pivoting a little bit, a lot of our Farm Bureau members may not be directly involved in agriculture on the education side of things. They may not have been involved in FFA. They may not have an FFA member in their family. They may not come or live in a district or a region that has an FFA program at their high school. When we're talking about FFA, I know the foundation is in agricultural education. Can you share a little bit about that foundation and how FFA is involved in education?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so FFA is co-curricular within our school system. So if you're a student that takes any agriculture class, such as an engines class or an animal science class or horticulture class, you can be enrolled into FFA. And then we run on a 3-circle model. So that's FFA, which is our competitions, our leadership that we provide, as well as there's the classroom instruction. So from those actual classes, the content they learn. And then we have an SAE, which stands for Supervised Agricultural Experience Project. So these are projects where students get hands-on ability to take what they've learned in the classroom and put it into action to better their community. For example, my SAE project is working for the Maryland Department of Agriculture and Nutrient Management. So I study soil science and the effect of legislation on our farmers. So it's very heavily involved in our school system, as it is co-curricular.
So if our members were to want to be involved in FFA, but maybe they don't have an alumni association near them, or maybe they feel like they can't because they weren't involved as a student, what do you think our members can do to really support and be involved in the Maryland FFA Association?
I think that there's lots of things that they can do. Just walking around Annapolis today and last week whenever we were here with the CTSOs, there's lots of times where we're going into these offices and they're like, where can we get one of those jackets? We were never part of it, but where can we get one now? And the saddest thing that we have to tell them is you can only get one if you're a member. And so I think it just all goes back to we are always arms wide open to anybody that wants to help with our organization, that wants to see our students thrive. We are constantly having events, competitions, fundraisers, and different things that we ask anybody to get their hands on and help with, no matter what you may be doing, what your background may be, or if you're from an alumni chapter.
Yeah, one of the things that I've talked to a couple of our members about is, if they have an animal on their farm or if they have an experience that they think would be great for an FFA member to participate in, is really starting to build those connections. So, the Farm Bureau member could call up, the chapter advisor or chapter officer and say, hey, I have this. What can I do? How can I help? We want you here. I think that's a really good relationship builder as well. What are your thoughts, Hailey?
Yeah, I completely agree. I know as far as us, I know that Mr. Williams from Frederick County, he's a Farm Bureau member, and he's opened up his farm to allow our students to come and tour the facilities to learn about their bull operation, as well as see some of their horses. So it can be a joint effort where Farm Bureau members can either open up their farms and open up the educational aspects that they have.
Yeah, especially as agriculture people are beginning to be generations and generations removed. You may have an FFA student who's enrolled in agricultural education, has no farming background, and Mr. Williams could be the first chance that student got to see an animal up close and personal. So I love that. I'm really happy that you have some stories like that.
Working off of what Hailey said, just giving another shout out, TR Robinette from Allegheny really works with the Allegheny chapters in Washington County to try to get those hands-on experiences for our members on his farm. And I, as well as our state sentinel, Lily Rumpf, got to go out to his farm just a few months ago and see those members actually have those hands-on experiences. And that day that they were vaccinating, they were so scared at first, and by the end of the day, TR and his team had worked up their confidence and they were so excited. They wanted to learn so much more about his farm. And so it's those little inspirational things like that of, Farm Bureau is working together with us, and that's one way that they're leaving their impact. And so if different Farm Bureau members across the state are opening up opportunities like that for our members, and making that impact, I think that could be pretty helpful. And then them also inviting other members out to see that impact is super important if we want to get our hands on.
Yeah, that warms my heart because I know, TR was super excited to bring students out, and I'm so happy to hear that was an impactful moment on the students as well.
Absolutely.
Another opportunity that I'd like to talk about is Maryland Farm Bureau Convention.
Yes.
You guys had the opportunity to participate in convention. What are your thoughts? What did you enjoy?
Yeah.
What did you participate in, and how was it?
So this past convention was my first one.
Okay.
I'd never been before. It was actually my first major Farm Bureau event that I went to. And it was really awesome to see all the farmers, especially like any age was there. And I really appreciated that and loved it, as well as all the different exhibits. You got to learn from so many different companies. Connor and I competed in the collegiate discussion meet, and I had never done discussion meet before, and I was like, I'm gonna give it my best foot forward, and I'm gonna talk about what I believe is true. And so we talked about issues on urbanization, as well as nutrient management and the programs within our government that regulate like soil science and our environmental stewardship. So it was a very interesting opportunity, especially as someone in the collegiate level who maybe doesn't have those opportunities with FFA anymore to compete. We got to compete as well.
And you made it to Final Four, didn't you?
Yes, we did.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I think that Farm Bureau Convention is really impactful every year. I know that you guys have a great ambassador program, which I actually got to be a part of a year prior to this year. So this was actually my second year at convention, my second year competing in a discussion meet this year, just collegiate, and got to have Hailey by my side throughout that competition, which was very nice. But that convention, you get to go to different workshops, you get to see different perspectives and have so much farmers knowledge in the room and what they're doing currently, what their needs are, and it's super impactful to us because we're looking at that next generation. We want to help the generation before us as well as look out for the next generation and within ourselves, and just watching the things that they're doing now to protect and prevent things later is super impactful to me. And then going back to discussion meet was super great. We had some great conversation, I feel, and put some things forward for Farm Bureau to really take a look at as young minds are exploring different things like environmental stewardship, and urbanization. And I just think that it's super important. The convention was definitely a blast for me.
That's awesome, Connor, and I know Maryland Farm Bureau is really excited to have you represent us at the AFBF Young Farmers and Ranchers Conference here in a few weeks. Are you excited for that opportunity?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited, and I got to obviously go to AFBF in California, which was super nice. I got to, have a different experience, be all the way in California with Maryland Farm Bureau team, gain closer connections to not only Maryland Farm Bureau, but I actually got to also see, different FFA members out there and be a part of that leadership seminar and see other state officers and then see a different perspective of farmers there. While my time there, I think that one of the most impactful things that I took away was that one sheep farmer, his barn burned down, and he said, you don't want to live, something in the moment when it's just like in the time, and he was about to take his life. And so things like that are also impactful for us to see.
Yeah.
Those things that farmers are actually doing currently and those things that are actually hurting our farmers and how we can work around that and, support them further as well. And then coming up in Oregon, I'm super excited. I think I'm working hard just to get everything together and be able to represent Maryland well.
Well, I know we're really happy to have you guys at our convention and participating in competitions. That competition works through our Young Farmers program, and one of the priorities at Maryland Farm Bureau right now is working to build up our Young Farmers and Ranchers program. What are your guys' thoughts on kind of taking that generation of FFA members and transitioning them into Maryland Farm Bureau Young Farmers? How do you feel like the best avenue to do that is, and what can we do to kind of support that effort?
I think you've done a great job so far, even coming to events
Hailey.
like this. Well, you came to an event like this today, which is full of our chapter officers, so extremely involved members, and you got your word out there about what we do, how we advocate, and I think that's the best avenue, honestly, is just speaking to our members, providing testimony of successful people within Maryland Farm Bureau and teaching them about what Farm Bureau does. I really appreciate that, and as well as, like I said earlier, the collegiate discussion meet is in the Young Farmers discussion meet is really helpful for us who love that competition aspect and being able to show what we know and advocate for agriculture, but because of our age, we're not able to do that anymore.
Right, and I guess just piggybacking off of Hailey, I think that going down your grassroots organization, so going back down to that county level, a lot of our county levels, have different scholarships and different things that they actually do for their members. A lot of our county farm bureaus support our chapters, and just showing up for that support, wanting to give them scholarships and investing in their future, especially knowing they're a part of this organization, is super impactful to us. And then just like looking forward into the future of how we can make those closer connections, I think it's just having those young farmers and ranchers really work with those seniors in high school, those juniors in high school. How can we incorporate them in and let that organization know that they want more members, that they want them to be involved and continuing outside of this organization, because that is our next step, is young farmers and ranchers and the Farm Bureau organization outside of this organization that we're in right now.
Yeah, I love that. And I do also want to highlight and give to you guys to take back to the FFA members is a lot of our counties do have their ambassador programs, which are typically open for ages 17 to 21. So as you guys are going to chapter visits and meeting FFA members, I would encourage you to highlight those applications and to apply for the ambassador program. And then you can compete on the state level just like Connor did just a few years ago. So I know that state office can be a little bit challenging, and you guys kind of had to give up a lot to be here. I know that both of you took gap years and are going part-time in college and then transferring next year to Oklahoma State University.
Go Pokes.
Go Pokes. Okay. But what is your why? Why do you choose to be a state officer? Why do you get up in the morning and advocate for agriculture? Hailey, can we start with you?
Yeah, so I personally had a really hard time in the beginning of high school, like making friends and having really relationships with people. And I was going to transfer schools out of my ag program because I felt so discouraged in making friends. And my ag teachers talked to me and they said, Hailey, you deserve to be here. We know that you will be good for our chapter and we promise to be your friends if you stay here. And so I made the decision and stayed, and these people are still my best friends to this day. And so I really want to be that person for other people. Maybe that they're really doubting where they are in their life or they're having a hard time making friends. I want to be the friend for them and teach them how they can grow and how they can be leaders themselves.
Yeah, as this year is, a super hard year to step away from college and not have that head start, but I think it's super impactful that we do take that year off to come back and give back to Maryland FFA. And that's actually one of my quotes, are you pouring into what has poured into you? And I think that that's just one thing that constantly stuck in my mind throughout my time, because there were so many people, as soon as I put this jacket on, that were constantly wanting to pour time into me, wanting to believe in me and wanting to see me go further. And so whenever my time came to an end, my senior year, and had to retire as my chapter's president, I was like, I need to pour back into these people that have believed in me, that have entrusted in me and wanted to see me grow further. And so not only did this year open up a whole can of meeting people and opportunities for me and growth, but it also opened up an opportunity for me to see all that hard work that people put into me pay back out for the members, and seeing their growth this time instead of mine, and just being able to see them thrive in our organization.
So as we're running out of time today, I do know that this is National FFA Week. Today especially is celebrating our advisors. So today at Day in Annapolis, we did have the opportunity to present our Golden Owl Awards for our regional finalists. Just to wrap us up, what thoughts do you have on the Golden Owl program? And then if you could just share your favorite memory with your FFA advisor, your favorite appropriate memory with your FFA advisor.
All right, so I think that the Golden Owl program is a great program because it actually recognizes agricultural teachers. A lot of people don't notice how much work they actually put in on a day-to-day basis. Agriculture teachers, they're going to school and then they have so many different competition teams that they have to prep for competitions in just a few weeks. They're impacting these members to want to go further into this industry. They're teaching members about personal growth and building on their leadership, as well as just showing them what the jacket is and what this organization is all about. So they're not only a teacher, they're an advisor. Some of them feel like parents, and they really make it feel like home for you. And so just being able to see that be recognized across the board, I think, is super impactful. I know that my advisor, we always have such fun times. Me and her are so much alike that sometimes we actually bicker. And so I love in those moments whenever we're like bickering back and forth, just being able to see how much growth that I've like taken away from her. And then coming back today, I actually did nominate her and she wasn't here today, so we didn't hear any results. But just knowing that, she was recognized and her name was called as, one of the nominees for Golden Owl was super important to me, because I know how much hard work she puts in, her dedication and her motive and drive that she works on every day.
Yeah, I love that. There were some days that I was with my FFA advisor from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Yep.
Right.
And I know for sure that she probably got tired of me.
Absolutely.
But I credit everything that I've done back to my FFA advisor, and I'm sure many are like that. Hailey.
Yeah, I love the Golden Owl because we have an agricultural teacher shortage here in Maryland, so this really gives them an ability to be recognized for all that they do and the support that they give to us, as well as the scholarship that goes along with it. I appreciate that, as our ag teachers do put a lot of their own personal funds into their teaching and into getting our programs to the best that they can be. So I really appreciate the program. Both of my ag teachers were actually nominated, which was really special to see them excited to be recognized for once. And my favorite memory is, if anyone's met Mr. Hawthorne, they know that he is just a hoot. And so I get my karaoke talents actually from him. On the bus ride home from Nationals, it was 2 years in a row, he would always karaoke in front of everyone. We'd put it up on the TV and have a microphone, and his go-to song is My Girl. And so he'd always sing, my girl, and he would dedicate it to the girls in the chapter, which I just thought was the cutest thing and really sweet, and he really is just our grandpa. And so that was my favorite memory with him and where I get my karaoke abilities from.
I love that. We're hearing a lot about your karaoke today, Hailey. But you're in luck because we're out of time today. But thank you so much for participating in our podcast and for letting us join you today at FFA Day in Annapolis.
Thank you.
Kendall.
Catch you next time on Old Line Farmer Radio.